After choosing empowerment over dread, I began searching for meaningful and effective solutions to put into practice in my own life. Progressive Hedonist is a podcast to share the ways we can take on climate change through food and joy. On days when this seems completely impossible, this podcast is a reminder that each of us can make an impact. I'm Dana Cowan. Join me in conversations with thought leaders like Alice Waters, Andrew Zimmern, Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson, and more. We can learn together what is possible. You can listen anywhere podcasts can be found and join the conversation on Instagram at progressive_hedonist.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
If you want to go on a wild goose chase, head to the tequila aisle and search for G4 tequila. You probably won't find it because G4 tends to sell out as soon as it arrives into Specs or any other liquor store. And of course G4 sells out. It's made by the legendary Felipe Camarena and his sons, Luis Felipe and Alan, who are the titular fourth generation that is G4. They cook ripe agaves in custom stone ovens and distill the fermented sugar-rich plants in copper stills. It's a difference you can smell, taste, and feel when you enjoy G4 tequilas. Or rather, it is what you can taste, smell, and feel if you can find G4. And if you can find it, grab it. I'm Lou Bank.
I'm Rowan Jacobson.
And this is Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed award-winning podcast that helps Gringex bartenders better understand agave spirits, and rural Mexico. And today, because we have you, Rowan, we're going to be focusing on chocolate.
Thank God, or I'd be in the wrong place.
Yeah. So Rowan has a new book that by the time this lands, I think the book will be out. It's October 8th, I think.
October 8th.
Yeah, called Wild Chocolate, Across the Americas in Search of Cacao's Soul. And like everything he writes, it's great. So Rowan, I've been doing this, I shouldn't say a series. This will be the second in the series. But I'm going to be doing this series of episodes that help bartenders think about things that they could serve, food things that they could serve in their bars where they don't have kitchens. So right? You think,
yeah, right. This is how the whole tinned fish craze began. It's like, what do I do without a kitchen? Hey, this makes people excited.
Exactly that. So we started with an episode that was tinned fish with our mutual friend Barton Seaver.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pull up a quote here about that episode. I heard from road tripper Shane Bella Lugosi, who's out of San Diego. He checked in to let me know about the Oslo Sardine Bar by Max Daly. Roy, can you run that quote?
Yeah, so it's been happening for a few years now. Kind of started pre-COVID. My buddy, he mainly is just he's a sailor, locally in town. He sails boats and charters boats and stuff. And he kind of fell in love with tinned fish and sardines and everything. And so he started he just rented this little shack by one of the ports downtown where you can literally just pick up fresh fish and all of that, and was just kind of selling picking up tins and selling them to people there and having small pop-ups. But he pretty much hit us up when I was working at the speakeasy, and we just set up a pop-up where we had cocktails and people would come in and sit down, and he had a full menu of all of the tinned fish that he had. And it was super simple too, because it was just a tinned fish, hot sauce and saltine crackers. Nothing fancy really about it besides just how it was. And then we just covered the bar and the tables with paper, something you would do at like a crawfish boil, just like cover the table with paper. So if anyone spilled anything, we just clean it up for the next people to come in. But he does do the pop-ups at a few different bars now. He'll try to do them at bars when they have days that they're closed. So like Mabel's Gone Fishing, I believe is closed Monday, Tuesday. So on like one of those days, he did a pop-up because the space was available. And every time he does a pop-up, it sells out. It's like completely sold out. People are waiting in line.
Yeah, I feel like people have always loved tinned fish, and it had to be a guilty secret for a few decades there. Like even like the cheap sardines. And now suddenly we've been given like stylistic permission to enjoy tinned fish and feel good about it. So I think whoever started that was a genius.
As a kid, somebody pointed out to me when we're talking bumblebee tuna, we're also talking tinned fish, and I hated bumblebee tuna as a kid. I still hate bumblebee.
For sure.
No offense, bumblebee. It's nothing personal. You just remind me of the smell of the kitchen when my brother was making a god awful tuna melt.
Right. Well, that's some particularly bad types of tinned fish probably turned off a lot of us on it. But then you go to Europe and they've been having this tuna, you get an actual slab of tuna in a can and in good olive oil, and it's a whole different deal.
God, so that brings us right into the part of your book that, well, I mean, I'm only like 28 pages into it and I'm already excited about it. But the part of your book that I wanted to focus on for this conversation. So I got myself a Hershey's milk chocolate bar, which I have to be honest.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. I was speaking to Paul Joachim, the chocolate genius, earlier today, and I showed him what I was going to be eating while I was talking to you, and he was mortified. I can't remember the last time I had this, but your description in the book, Rowan, of what this tastes like, what a Hershey's milk chocolate bar tastes like, is a vanilla-scented candle recovered from a warehouse after an electrical fire.
So give it a taste there and tell me what you think. Because you've been eating a lot of good chocolate for a while, so you may have lost your perspective on on the other end of the market.
Right. It's very fair. But I gotta say, I love it. Like I get what you're like. I can taste the vanilla scented candle. The electrical fire's not there for me though.
Well, thank God. What do you like about it?
I honestly, I just like the taste. This to
sweet.
Me. Oh, it's very sweet, and I'm a sugar fiend. Like I don't know if we've had this conversation.
There we go.
But you give me a bag of circus peanuts, and I'm a happy man.
Just like the elephant.
Well, no, you know what a circus peanut is, right?
Yeah, I know. The foamy.
Yeah. Don't give that to an elephant. They'll. Would they get? Could they get? Elephants have teeth. Do they?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they must because they eat plants. So okay. Anyway, don't give them to an elephant. But like one of the things that I talk about when I talk about agave spirits is it's really funny. This isn't because I like this actually. Like I could crush a Hershey's bar any given day quite happily, or Reese's peanut butter cup.
It looks like you're about to.
Well, I'm going to finish what I had in my fingers.
You're halfway there.
And Roy's going to love the sound of me chewing. He'll emphasize that, I'm sure. But I'll also say that, I grabbed, just so I could have some perspective on it, this beautiful Bolivian wild forest bar from Fruition Chocolate Works.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are good.
Oh man, I love what they're doing, and and any given day I'll have a stack of bars from my friends at Dark Matter, the Sleepwalk bars. Have you had any of those yet?
I have. I think you sent me some actually.
That would make total sense.
They were excellent. Yeah, I was super impressed. I don't know what the backstory is there, but they were really good.
They just walked away from the International Chocolate Awards, the USA and Canada category, with the 2 highest ranked bars.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah. I'll send you some of those so that you can. Anyway, but to get back to the instead of people listening to me talk about chocolate bars that I'm eating, to get back to the actual point, if you think about this Hershey's as the bumblebee tuna, right? there's this whole other world of chocolate bars that the vast majority of consumers aren't yet aware of, but are just starting to recognize. And I think what it's reminding me of, besides the Bumblebee tuna, is also agave spirits. So, yeah, if you could read the excerpt from your book from pages 5 and 6 about the plot of land.
Okay, here we go. If you lived on the same plot of land as your ancestors, then you were thought to be accompanied by their spirits in tree form. It's easy to see why the dark liquid made from the seeds of those trees had a special role to play, said to transform your body and mind into a conduit for the generations. This was considered your lifeblood, the most sacred thing you could share with others. When your kids got married, what better way to mark the mixing of two lines than by mixing cacaos? When somebody special visited, what better way to honor them than to whip up a batch of chocolate with a nice frothy head, a cup of you, and all that had come before you?
Oh, God, man, that is just so freaking beautiful. And what that reminds me of are all these families in rural Mexico that I visit that are making these beautiful, right, heritage agave spirits. But then you contrast that with the bumblebee, if you will, of chocolate, right? This thing that meant so much to so many families, and then you end up describing it as this vanilla scented candle.
Yeah, and a lot of the book, it kind of wrestles with this question, like, how did something that sort of meant a pure gift, right? A gift that was this essence. How did that get completely commoditized? And then and then the book sort of focuses on these people who are sort of trying to decommoditize it, like return it to that gift, gift worthy valuation instead of any other commodity,
Right. And so in a way, I want to have two conversations with you. And I think they kind of have to be one conversation, even though it's awkward, because the one conversation is, hey, bartenders, you should have really good chocolate bars in your bars. Because not only do they pair great with agave spirit, there's nothing they don't, like a Mai Tai. Give me a Mai Tai and a chocolate bar. I'm happy. An old fashioned, a beer, a red wine, like maybe not gin.
Yeah. So I'm gonna mostly agree with you there. I like, and people are always trying to put chocolate and red wine together. I don't like chocolate with wine.
Really?
I love it with liquor, right? Like, definitely any agave spirit is great. Bourbon, Scotch, all of those things. But I don't like chocolate and red wine together. The acidity, I don't like. If any liquor that's got too much acidity, it is like working against the chocolate for me. That's just me, though.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, I say red wine not because I would actually make that pairing, because I don't drink wine because I'm angry at grapes, but I say it because it's one of those cliches that I hear all over the place.
Totally. You hear it everywhere. But yeah, like tequila, mezcal, bourbon, those are all just amazing. Rum, all really good with chocolate.
Well, and to that point, like I think you could take this this vanilla scented candle of a Hershey's milk chocolate bar and pair it with a neat pour of Bacardi and have something absolutely wonderful that might put you in a sugar coma if you're not used to just sucking on circus peanuts all day. But there's also that beautiful alternative of this wonderful fruition Bolivian chocolate bar paired with an agave spirit made by Lalo and Santa Catarina Minas with his clay pot stills. So I think for the bartenders, there's that beautiful option of things you can carry that aren't going to go bad. It's so funny. These one of the things I love doing is trolling some of the the online chocolate stores to see which bars have expired and are selling for some discounted price, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in essence, it's just an aged chocolate bar and it keeps getting better. It doesn't go bad. They just legally have to put the dates on there.
Totally. Some of those guys talk about aging it for years,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Like any bartender, like if I'm in a bar, if I'm sitting at the bar having a nice cocktail and the bartender just slides me a little square of chocolate on a little plate just as a freebie, like I am in love with that bar. That's like more of them should be doing that for sure.
Wait, hang on a second. You're going to bars and they're doing this for you?
No, I'm thinking about it now.
Now
like talking to you, like
yeah.
I want to go to that bar. I want to own that bar, or at least work in it. I probably could afford it.
You don't want to own the bar where they're giving away the chocolate. You want to own the bar where they're selling
Right.
the chocolate.
That's true.
In liquor stores, it shocks me. Like, I'll see they'll have snacks usually at your average liquor store, but why is that not a place to get these beautiful bars? And when you think about the cost per square foot, just from a sense of retail metrics, why aren't they selling expensive chocolate bars to make more per square foot?
Totally. And it's like, back to the tin fish, like you see certain product categories that smart entrepreneurs have seized on because they are high value per weight or volume or size and shelf stable, right?
Yeah.
So you got the tin fish, salt, chocolate. Like there's this whole little category of products that you don't have any of like the refrigeration worries or expiration worries, and they ship great because it's a lot of value per weight.
Yeah. So there's that side of it, but now let's go back to the commodity versus the art, if you will, or the cultural heritage. What do you want to say?
Yeah. All the above. It's art, it's a gift, it's cultural heritage. That's all rolled together. Like it has, like chocolate always had value in those Mesoamerican cultures that couldn't just be converted directly into dollars or pesos or whatever the coin of the realm was. But then they changed, right? It was a commodity. It was currency for the Aztec, the Mexica.
Yeah.
And then the Spanish, of course, it was total currency.
When you talk about that at the beginning of the book, and you talk about, like, I'm going to make this stuff up, but it was like, one seed of cacao, one bean of cacao, whatever you want to call it, would get you, I don't know, like a drink of beer or pulque or whatever it was. And
Right.
and you work your way up to a prostitute. And well, it was
Right.
it was
8 beans, only 8 beans for a prostitute.
You're saying only 8 beans, but that's twice the price of a salamander, which was 4 beans.
Right. So 2 salamanders for a prostitute, in theory, right?
What the hell are they doing with salamanders?
That, I don't know. That one, that like stumps me too.
Okay, well, that'll be our next episode. Anyway, the thing.
Probably licking them. It's like probably like, you lick the toad, the drug toad.
Yeah. Wait, is there a thing
Maybe
when you lick salamanders?
I'm just kidding. Maybe. I haven't tried.
Let's go on a
maybe.
salamander road trip, Rowan.
I could see that. I could sell that article.
But anyway, so the thing that I find so fascinating is the point that you made a couple minutes ago is that you've got these people who are trying to pull it back to that cultural heritage and pull it back to that art from the commodity, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder, they're trying to get it back to that, but still within the influence of a commodity, right? They're trying to sell better stuff. This bar from Fruition, it's not like nobody's having this in church. Well, I don't go to church.
Not yet, or maybe not going to the right church, but no, it's within the context of capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which fascinates me. And then I think, like, how did we move to this commodity? And as you say, like, I haven't gotten deep into the book, but maybe you approach this in the book. But I think about, was this an effort where, in essence, if you read the stories about pulque, it suggested that pulque was only for royalty in the early days. And then eventually the people were able to get pulque. And that feels to me like you're trying to democratize it, to make it available to more people, affordable and available to more people, which I would argue is a good thing. But if the end result is this vanilla-scented Hershey's milk chocolate, have you really gotten the thing to the people?
Or you got something different to the people? Yeah, and that's such an interesting point, because you want more people. If you can get the cost per unit down on this thing and get it to more people who could afford it, great. But does something get lost along that process? Does it have to get lost, or are there ways to? And this is a question I know that a lot of people in Mezcal are asking as well.
Yeah.
Like, are there ways to keep the specialness and make it more accessible?
Yeah. One of the things that Barton brought up in the episode, one of the things that he writes about a lot and says a lot, is he talks about fish on a diving board. right? And it's your plankton is the stuff, your planktons, your sardines, they're down there by the base where if you jump on that, it doesn't really move the board much. But when you go out to your big-eyed tunas, that's the end of the board, and you jump up and down on that, you eat that big-eyed tuna, and you're really moving that board up and down. He referred to those as the birthday fish.
Right.
And
once a year.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if we shouldn't be thinking about these spirits in the same context, but then I also think, and the chocolate in the same context, but then I also think like we're sort of in a race, right? Where I feel like, so this, when I look at the ingredients on this chocolate bar, right? You've got milk as the number one ingredient. Oh, sorry, milk chocolate. So sugar's the number one ingredient, of course, milk, and then chocolate and cacao butter. And, and I think about that cacao, and it's probably Forastero, right? From Africa.
Yeah, definitely from Africa. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think about that, and I think about how we're really just consuming one kind of cacao by and large. Something like 85%, I think, of chocolate is made from cacao from Forastero. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. More. I bet it's more. 90 plus, and 70% from Africa. But then Indonesia, I think, is the next biggest player, and that's all. It's all Forastero except for the specialty market, which is like 5% of the market or something.
Right, and so that's where my head goes, is with this Bolivian bar from Fruition. Well, it's an agave from Bolivia, out of a wild forest, and I think we're sort of in this weird crux point where if we're going to turn the ship, I think the way to do it is we do have to commodify the art. Right? We do have to get more people need to eat this to keep this on the planet, to make that part of this is from the Amazon. Yeah. Do you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
To make that part of the Amazon protected, because if you don't protect that part of the Amazon, I can't have this chocolate bar. And dang it, I want this chocolate bar.
Right. Exactly. And yeah. So and increasing demand can actually increase the protection, the resiliency of the industry down there.
Yeah. So this bar, I think, retails for something like $12 or $14 compared to the $1.79 of the Hershey's bar. I doubt the ingredients for this Fruition bar even cost as little as the retail price of the Hershey's.
For sure. I mean, they're paying, they're probably paying those specialty. Well, all right. So this is going to be another curveball on this whole discussion, but one that will interest you, I think, quite a bit. The specialty stuff is generally like $10 a kilo, $12 a kilo that they pay for the beans.
Yeah.
And bulk cacao out of Africa has always been essentially like $2 a kilo. Like since the 1970s, it's been $2 a kilo.
Yeah.
Like hasn't changed. And then last year, it popped up to $4 a kilo, and everybody freaked out in the commodity market. And then it went bonkers in 2024 and went up like $7 a kilo, $8 a kilo, surpassed the price of specialty cacao, and hit 10 and then $12 a kilo. Then it came down to like 8 or 9, went back up. Right now it's at $7 a kilo, more than has ever been in history before this surge. So bulk cacao costs as much as specialty cacao right now.
Oh man, I was on a trip with the Dark Matter guys through Chiapas earlier this year. It's hard for me to remember years. No, it was earlier this year. And we visited this farmer who specializes in the white beans, in like Blanco Jaguar, right?
Yeah.
And he said his biggest customer now is Nestle.
Yeah, right. Well, so Nestle, I bet that's Nestle Mexico.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Which I guess means that, you eat the Nestle's Crunch in Mexico, you're getting like a Blanco Jaguar Crunch.
Yeah, right? Like interesting. Like
right. But it's still mainly sugar and mainly milk. But I'm guessing
they do like it sweet. Yeah. They like it. They like their chocolate sweet in Latin America.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But to your point, like, did the market move then to more specialty beans when they saw that the price was the same?
I would assume, right? Any commodity trader or person who's buying in bulk for one of the big companies, yeah, at that point would be like, I'll take any bean, give me whatever beans you have. Like, sure, I'll pay $9 a kilo, $10 a kilo. But it was all just traders and speculating on the futures contracts, because everyone could see that there are going to be all these shortfalls in the African crop for the first time. And so everyone's like buying 2 years out at any price just to make sure they have beans, you know?
Which has to then move the market for the specialty guys. Suddenly,
You'd think, right?
Yeah. Well,
how could it not?
Well, what I'm thinking is it restricts their access to the good beans, right?
It could. They could lose it, right? Suddenly, like, yeah, like you were the only one willing to pay $10 a pound for the good beans. But then if Hershey's comes along is like, I'll take all your good beans at $10.50, then yeah. So it seems at first like it could. I mean, it definitely seems like it's good for the farmers, right?
Which
like,
is great, and that's which is great.
Which is great, but I don't know if it's good for if you're like a bean to bar chocolate maker. I have no idea if it's good or not.
Well,
probably not.
Well, right, but if it's good for the farmers, that's terrific. But if the end result is we just get more, and I like the Hershey's milk chocolate bar. I like the taste of it, but it's not what I want to eat on a daily basis. It's like it's Bacardi. I'll take it in a Mai Tai, but if I want to just have this beautiful chocolate experience, I want this fruition bar. And so I think even though it helps the farmer, if the farmer is then eventually, because your biggest customer is now Nestle and Hershey, and they want the Forastero because you get more Forastero beans off of a tree, it's easier to ship, it lasts longer. Then you end up getting those same farmers forced. This is the banana story, forced to make that one variety of cacao, grow that one variety of cacao in service of this industry.
Right. And if the price is the same for all the beans that I'm going to grow, whatever bean is giving you the highest yields.
Yeah. So, to me, that sort of comes back to the idea of if we can get the people who are so excited about good tequila, about great mezcal, about amazing agave spirits, we can get them to be buying these bars at this higher price because it's worth it, in the same way that they're paying a higher price for these spirits because it's worth it, and in so doing preserving biodiversity in these communities and supporting these farmers to continue growing the things that they've been growing for hundreds of years. That's got to be better.
Yeah, and it's still a fairly cheap way to get this authentic experience of a place with that is rich in both like environment and heritage. So like $10, $10 for a chocolate bar sounds like a lot if you've been paying $1.79 for a Hershey bar your whole life. But on the greater scheme of things, it's like it's a cheap experience still.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, everybody talks about, well, not everybody talks about, but there's been a lot of talk about cacao as an antioxidant. Before we started recording, you and I were talking about departed friends, right? And antioxidants are one of the ways that you can fight cancer. And you think you're eating a Hershey's bar and somehow, it's the dark chocolate Hershey, so it has to be good. Yeah, right? Like, if you really want that antioxidant experience, this is 74% cacao, this fruition bar. Like,
yeah, and that Hershey's is probably like 25 or something. So,
is it that much?
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe that's the Hershey's Dark.
Right. Hershey's Dark. It sounds like a spy organization. Anyway, so yeah, that's my pitch for bars carrying bars. Oh, and one last thing.
I think you just got your marketing campaign right there.
Yeah, and while we're on names too, there was something that somebody in the chocolate world who's apparently well known, and I don't know the chocolate world enough to speak to him. I don't know him, but he was using the phrase barsmiths to describe.
Yeah, so that's Mark Christian's phrase. Because because a chocolatier is not a chocolate maker, and people don't realize this, but the chocolatier is the person who takes the chocolate and and whips it up into bonbons and all these fancy creations. But the chocolate maker, who actually takes the beans and makes the chocolate, we've never had a name for that person.
Oh,
So that's why Mark Christian, who's this sort of chocolate critic, he started calling them bar smiths. He's got this very like 1960s late night jazz host kind of vibe. So he can get away with that. I don't feel like I can call them bar smiths and like sound anything but silly, but he can.
Could you call them chocolate taros? Do you think that would work?
I have, yes. And I like that. And in of course, Mexico, the farmers are called cacateros or cacateras,
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've just been calling them like Jorge and Luis.
Well, that works too.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Rowan, just once again, if you're digging this chocolate conversation, check out Rowan's new book, Wild Chocolate, Across the Americas in Search of Cacao's Soul. Did you find the soul?
I'm not going to tell you. You have to get to the end to find out.
Okay, I'll get there in a couple of weeks. Hey, thanks very much, Rowan. Appreciate you coming back on the show, and I look forward to hitting the road with you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be soon. Take care.
Hasta pronto. You've been listening to Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed award-winning podcast that helps Gringex bartenders better understand agave spirits, and rural Mexico. We're blessed with sound engineering by Roy Sierra and a theme song performed by Gabriel Oliveira and Marco Ricos. Sign up to become a road tripper and listen to more episodes at agaveroadtrip.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please let us know. And if you hated it, well, I'm sure you'll let us know that too. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Agave Road Trip. Agave Road Trip is a production of 10 Angry Pit Bulls, Inc. Agave Road Trip is powered by Simplecast. Thank you for listening to Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is food radio supported by you. For our freshest content, subscribe to our newsletter. To subscribe to the Heritage Radio newsletter, enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with Heritage Radio Network on Instagram and Twitter at heritage_radio. You can also find Heritage Radio Network at facebook.com/Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization using the power of educational storytelling about food to build a more equitable, resilient food system. Heritage Radio Network couldn't do that without support from listeners like you. Become a part of the world's most innovative community today. Subscribe to the shows you like. Tell your friends. And please join the Heritage Radio Network family by becoming a member. To become a member of the Heritage Radio Network, click on the beating heart of our homepage. Heritage Radio Network can become addictive. Programming you hear on Heritage Radio Network might lead you to eat, drink, and listen to more programming on Heritage Radio Network. If you drink, please do not drink and drive. Drink responsibly. Drive responsibly. Eat responsibly too. And listen to Heritage Radio Network responsibly. To listen to Heritage Radio Network responsibly, wear protective earbuds. While wearing protective earbuds, do not drive. Do not walk either. Sit in a comfortable chair. If that comfortable chair has a hard seat, please remember to stretch every 30 minutes. If you stretch every 30 minutes, please stay within your defined stressing capacity. And consult a doctor who specializes in stretching. If you don't have a doctor, maybe Dr. Ryan Acock, the Cocktail MD, can help you out. Thanks for listening. Agave Road Trip out.
Hey listeners, thank you so much for listening to HRN. We want to make your experience as a listener even better, and to help us do that, we'd love your input on our audience survey. It'll only take a few minutes, and by completing it, you can enter to win a $250 gift card from Goldbelly. Visit heritageradionetwork.org/survey to take the survey and to help us keep growing and improving. That's heritageradionetwork.org/survey. Thanks for your support.